Nowadays, in the Forbidden City, there is a gun collection from the 17th century in the years of Kangxi Qing dynasty. It says that this is a British gun and is could fire repeatedly. Meanwhile, in the same age of Kangxi, there was a gun which also could fire repeatedly, but many people online say that this is the first machine gun in the world, but because of the political rivalry, the inventor and his gun were driven to a dark corner of history. Knowing the legendary stories, this gun began to have a bit of mystery color. So today, let's talk about the repeating flintlock gun in the Chinese Forbidden City. In old Chinese language, besides the matchlock, 鸟枪, 鸟中, there were some other guns lock, such as the whale lock and the flintlock, which were called 自来火枪, whose meaning is a gun can fire the gunpowder by itself, but not need to use the slow match. In the English language, whale lock and the flintlock were divided into two categories, but in the Old Chinese language, both could be called 自来火枪. However, nowadays in the modern Chinese language, the word 自来火枪 has become an ancient word and almost wasn't used in life. 黄轮枪 and 碎发枪 instead the word 自来火枪. In the ancient dictionary of the Qing dynasty, it also gives us the explanation in Manchu language. melchangyaadele angilkta hirha kafirfi shanyokudoshitarovabi gan yalekutta yataramachitaramanyingbe yatarakomyauchansme. This sentence to the effect that this kind of gun is like the regular gun and the flint is equipped on the cork, then fired with a flint on the pan of the place of putting priming powder, and this is Yataraku Miaochang. In addition, Yataraku is a flint, and the Miaochang is a firearm. This gun, which we can see in the video, is a collection in the Forbidden City. Its name tag says this is a 自来火枪. So now, let's take a closer look at how the collection description on the official website of the Forbidden City explains this firearm. The Kangxi Pipa stock gun, made during the Qing dynasty, was manufactured in Britain. By the way, in ancient China, Britain has some different translated names, and Anli Yaguo was one of them. It measures 108.5 centimeters in length, with a barrel caliber of 2 centimeters. The iron barrel of the gun is adorned with gilded western floral patterns, and the upper part of the muzzle is equipped with an iron sight, and the trigger area is decorated with silver inlays. Engraved with western floral patterns, the gun stock is made from tiger-striped wood, and it is encased with an iron beam featuring gilded western flower patterns. A wooden plug is attached to the gun stock, inscribed with the following: during the Kangxi era, the Forbidden City held in its inventory a second-grade self-fire repeating gun with a paper stock, which can fire 20 rounds. This paper gun was from Britain, Anli Yaguo. Although this gun was manufactured in Britain, as we mentioned in the previous video discussing the air gun in the Forbidden City, the true invention of repeating flintlock gun can be attributed to the Italian Lorenzoni repeater and the German Karthoff repeater, which were developed in the 17th century. The principles of these two firearms are similar. The version in the Forbidden City is the English variant, likely the Coxswain repeater, based on the Italian Lorenzoni repeater, and manufactured between the 1700s and 1750s. Therefore, it can be reasonably inferred that this repeating flintlock gun in the Forbidden City might be the Coxswain repeating gun exactly. Furthermore, when discussing this particular repeating flintlock gun in the Forbidden City, there is another person who cannot be overlooked. Dai Zi was born into an official dong's family in the years of Kangxi, influenced by his father Dai Cang. he developed a passion for mechanical manufacturing and even constructed various firearms, including one that could hit targets beyond 100 paces. Besides his mechanical interests, Daizi was also accomplished in literature, writing poetry at the age of 12, and later producing works on water control. In 1674, in the 13 years of the Kangxi reign in the Qing dynasty, Geng Jingzhong led a rebellion from Fujian, joining the revolt initiated by Wu Sangui. In response, Emperor Kangxi dispatched Prince Kang Jieshu as a commanding general, leading the Qing army to suppress Geng Jingzhong in Fujian and Zhejiang. Upon his return to the imperial court, Prince Kang appointed Daizi as Shijang which was an official position in the Hanlin Yuan, and they could have opportunities that discussed the literature with the emperor. Generally, only the most excellent scholars could work on this official position. Meanwhile, Daizi also was involved in the completion of the Lü Zhengyi, which was a book about the man's musical temperament. Back in the topic of the repeating flint of firearm, based on the historical records and the scholars' speculations, Daizi's invention shared similarities with the repeating flint of firearm from Europe. It is believed that Daizi likely modeled his design after firearms patented by the British during the Kangxi era. It is also suggested that the construction of Daizi's repeating firearm was similar to those of the British, with the exception that Daizi's version had a longer magazine and could continuously fire 28 rounds of ammunition from the rear-loading flintlock gun. Fortunately, there is still one surviving British repeating firearm hosted in the Forbidden City, allowing us to envision the shape of Daizi's firearm. Daizi is indeed a legendary figure in history, but there seems to be limited written documentation about him, likely due to the turbulent times he lived in and the passage of time. Consequently, various myths and legends has emerged surrounding his name. It said, due to internal conflicts within the empire, this advanced firearm was buried in history. As a result of Daizi's exceptional craftsmanship, Emperor Kangxi commanded him to create a Chongtianpao. We may know that this was a kind of early form of mortar. Daizi finished the mission in just 8 days. Emperor Kangxi personally witnessed its test firing and gave it the name Wei Yuan Jiangjun, then ordering that engraved of the maker's name on the cannon as a commemoration. This made the Belgian missionary Nan Huaizhen serving as an official in China in an awkward position, since he had personally claimed that only Belgians could create such a cannon, yet he had been unable to build it, even after a year's effort. Meanwhile, Daizi accomplished it in just 8 days. This led to Nan Huaizhen's envy and the subsequent persecution of Daizi, ultimately resulting in Daizi's exile to Mukden, which is now known as Shenyang. Eventually, this advanced repeating gun, which was later built by Daizi, was lost and forgotten. But actually, this story was from 岳微草堂笔记, and this is a novel which recorded many tales of anomaly. So the story of Daizi and his repeating gun might be real in our history, but also it might be just a story. So the rest of the mission will be the jobs of historians, and they will give us a better answer in the future. Then it should be noted that due to the complexity of the mechanism of the repeating gun, the cost of manufacture would have been very high. So it was difficult for this gun to become a weapon with excessive impact on the battlefield. Plus, before the 1840s, for China, it was rare to meet an enemy country as powerful as China in many years. So upgrading the firearms, moving on and now the emergence mission, and also from the west of Asia to East Asia, including the South and the Southeast Asia. The matchlock muskets were used in a very long time. This is very different from the situation in Europe, with its array of great powers in the 17th to 19th century. Thus, we can say the speed of evolution in the European firearms was far faster than the Asian firearms. Additionally, there is an online legend claiming that 太子 invented a machine gun, but according to the definition, a machine gun is a fully automatic, rifle-out loading firearm designed for sustained direct fire with rifle cartridges. But as discussed earlier, the mechanism and principles clearly indicate that it was not a machine gun. Furthermore, it also was not an automatic weapon. In reality, it was an early form of lever-action repeating firearm with the ability to fire multiple rounds. However, due to its complex mechanism, its reliability on the battlefield would be questionable, so it might have limited principal effectiveness in a military action. It likely ended up as a collector's item for kings or nobles, just like many situations of the repeating gun in Europe. Lastly, it is regrettable that, to date, there is only textual documentation of Daizi's repeating firearm, and no physical artifacts have been unearthed. Thus, this intriguing ancient Chinese firearm may remain a historical legend, concealed within the pages of historical literature. Maybe it really was made out. Maybe it's just a blueprint of Daizi. Maybe we will know the truth in the future. Okay, this is today's video. Hope you got this video. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. See you next time. Bye.